Hi, I'm Susie the Sea Witch, and welcome to my channel. My channel is about magic, tarot, glitter, and cats. And for the next year, it will be about outer court training, which is year and a day training to become a witch. Magic, please don't move my lights. Outer court training is traditionally a year and a day's worth of training about a particular path. In my tradition, the labyrinth tradition, it's designed to give you time to learn the skills that are traditionally associated with a witch. I'm one of those people that believe that you don't convert to Wicca. Instead, you come home to Wicca. If the feeling that you have is one of coming home, then welcome. However, you don't need to have witch ancestors, be born under a certain sign or at a certain time of year, or born with a call, or a certain birth order. You don't have to be born a witch. You don't have to be practicing magic your entire life. It's something that you can discover or will discover you at any point in your life. What you do need to have is an open mind during this process. If what you find here doesn't resonate with you, no problem. Move on and find a path that does. Some of the things that we'll cover during this year and a day training are ethics, of course, divination, including how to create your own form of divination, magic and spell casting, traditional styles such as talismans and candle magic, but also some that aren't as commonly known as such as hair magic and fey glamour, and even art. We'll talk about how to find other witches in your area and what you can do if you can't find any in your area. We'll cover holidays and the elements. You'll create your own book of shadows and a book of mirrors. You'll find your outer court name, which is always a fun process. Find which elements you're attuned with and which forms of magic work best for you. Are you a techno-pagan? Are you a kitchen witch, a head witch, a more ceremonial witch? We'll also talk about the differences and similarities between Wicca and witchcraft and what those two terms mean. We'll talk about dedication ceremonies and how to create your own if you decide that you want one. We'll look at ritual design, creating your own altar, and what tools you'll be using in your rituals. There will be assigned homework and reading. You don't have to do it, but if you don't do it, that pretty much tells you whether or not this path works for you or not, doesn't it? There'll be plenty of opportunities for questions and discussion. I just don't know yet if it's going to be a live stream on Reddit, a Discord, or an app like Amino. We'll play it by ear. So what makes me qualified to teach something like this? I've been an initiated and practicing witch for well over 30 years. I've been a solitary, in a coven, run my own coven, been in a magical partnership with my husband Randy, and I've taught many students over the years. If you have any questions for me specifically or about my training or qualifications, you know what to do. But enough about me. I know you're really here to meet the cats. Thank you. Oh. This is Morgan. Her real name's Morgan Le Fay, but we call her Morgan. Yeah, she's our oldest cat. She's about 15 years old. Yeah. She's a rescue, and when we went to go adopt her, cats. When we went to go adopt her, my husband picked her up, and she settled into his arms, and he fell in love. Cats. And we brought her home. She is not a big fan of the kittens. The kittens adore and worship her. There are times when suddenly she will look up and she is surrounded by 3 kittens sitting a respectful distance away, just looking at her, watching her. They want to be like her. She does not approve. Sometimes she'll look at me and say, "Why did you bring these kittens home?" However, once we adopted her originally and brought her home, she decided that she really loved my son's bedroom, and she lived there most of her life until we got the kittens. So she does kind of like the kittens. And as I said, they worship and adore her. Aw, thank you. This is Magic. we've been thinking about getting a kitten, and we wanted to adopt a black kitten because black cats and dogs are harder to adopt. Part of it is because they don't photograph as well on the internet, and part of it is because people are idiots about black cats. Yes, what a pretty girl you are. How could anybody be afraid of you? Oh, you pretty girl. So, we talked about getting a black cat, but then one of our cats was diagnosed with cancer and died shortly thereafter. And we thought we weren't ready to get a kitten. Of course, if one fell in our laps, that was a different story. And sure enough, a friend at work knew a friend who knew somebody who'd had a kitten walk into their house. And they were moving and couldn't keep the kitten, and they were trying to find a home for it. And through a friend of a friend of a friend, we were asked if we would adopt her. And so I texted my husband and I said, I know we weren't ready to adopt a kitten unless one fell into our laps, but I think one fell into our laps. And then they sent me a picture, and it was a black kitten, and I knew we had to adopt her. As we were heading out the door to adopt Magic, I said to my family, you know, we can't just adopt one kitten. We really need to have two, because then they'll keep each other company. Thank you. And when we went to go pick up Magic, yes, the family that was giving us Magic said, oh, by the way, we found this little kitten in the parking lot and we're going to take him to the pound, but we were hoping you'd adopt him too. And my husband had been kind of thinking, two kittens. They thrust Mabon into his arms, and Mabon settled down into the crook of his arm, and Randy was lost. So that's how we went out to get one kitten and came home with two. Come on, baby. Yeah, come on, baby.
You're
There
welcome.
you go.
Is Magic behind you on the shelf? Nope.
So this is Cerridwen. She was the last kitten that we adopted after Mabon and Magic. Yes. She's very mellow and laid back. And she gets along with everybody, which is quite a trick, especially with Morgan. I forgot to say one thing about Magic. She was the runt of her litter, but cats don't care about size. So she's really the boss of all the other kittens. She'd be the boss of Morgan too, except, you know, she worships Morgan. But all the other kittens agree, Magic is the boss. There you go, baby. So that's my channel. On Saturdays, I'll be posting the Outer Court training. On Tuesdays, I'm hoping to do Tarot Tuesdays. I'd love to say I'll be doing those every week. I can't promise that because life finds a way to, you know, mess you up. But in the meantime, welcome and blessed be.